Which indicators should be used in C4D programs? Because changes in behavior can take many years, Hedy Ip, nutrition specialist in Myanmar, believes that indicators should measure small changes in attitudes and perceptions across time. She uses the example of a study in Bangladesh on attitudes to early marriages to illustrate.
A lot of times, programs will push that to measure the impact of C4D intervention, we will measure the actual practice of exclusive breastfeeding rates, which of course is important to measure over time. But whether or not that changes every 6 months or a year is not realistic, right? But what can change is people's attitudes about it, knowledge about it, or willingness towards that practice. And these are the type of indicators that I feel are never sort of thought about or included in these monitoring systems. So I think the sort of right mix, the appropriate mix of indicators to measure little changes over time in people's attitudes and perceptions is important. We sort of try to just measure the end point and the beginning and the end, which is knowledge and practice, and not sort of what's happening in between. So when we don't see the practice changing enough or quick enough, then donors and government get frustrated. Oh, what are we spending our money on? We're not seeing any changes. We're not seeing any impact. And that causes, again, frustration. So I think that those milestone posts for the different indicators are really critical. And it's not easy coming up with good measurable C4D indicators. But it doesn't have to be that hard as well if you make an effort to do it. For example, in UNICEF Bangladesh, I was part of the task force on ending child marriage, which is a big country program led by the Child Protection Section. And what they did was they had different indicators and tools to measure people's attitudes to girls getting married at 12 and 14 years of age. And they used most significant change to even get track the qualitative differences in what people are saying in terms of grandparents, mothers, imams, and other influential people in the community. So what they were able to show is that even in a 6 months time frame, although you cannot get everyone saying positively that no girl should go to school, they should not get married until they're adults legally, what you found through that is that more and more people from those same communities are having more of a positive outlook that yes, girls should go to school, they should not get married young, even if the practice is not yet changed, and even if they don't maybe feel empowered enough to resist that. But over time, you see that more and more of them do feel that. And there's different ways that they have even, rated. They have got people to write, questionnaires and rate how they feel about certain statements, the degree to which they agree with this statement and not. So they have seen some changes to that. It showed that something was happening, so that was encouraging, because normally they would just wait after a year or two and just look at the incidences of rates of marriage in the community, for example. I mean, over time, though, we did see lower incidences of marriage. It took, I think, about 2 years to actually see a drop, and it's a slight drop. But that's pretty huge for a problem that is so fundamentally, ingrained in the social norm of a society.